Enterprise AI agents are leaving the server. That's the headline from Focus Labs this week, and it changes everything about how we think about AI in the workplace.
Wait, leaving the server? Agents have been server-side tools this whole time. Where are they going?
Into the browser, the desktop app, the unsaved form on your screen. Austin Vance at Focus Labs makes the case that the most important work an AI agent can do for you happens in the client, where the cursor is, what you've selected, the form data you haven't saved yet. The server only sees the record after the fact.
So the agent needs to reach into the application itself, not just into a database. That's a fundamentally different architecture.
Exactly, and that's the deep insight here. Backend tools can update an account, search a knowledge base, create a ticket. That's all record after stuff. But the product moment, the actual work, arrives earlier. A sales engineer editing pricing with unsaved changes, a support rep viewing an incident timeline, a product manager selecting a customer cohort. The client knows all of that. The server knows nothing, or a stale snapshot.
So how do you bridge that gap without things getting messy?
That's where AGUI comes in. It's a protocol layer fitting right alongside MCP for tools and data and A2A for agent-to-agent communication. AGUI specifically targets the agent-to-application interface. Front-end tools become typed contracts. The application defines functions with names, descriptions, and JSON schema parameters and passes them to the agent at runtime.
So no more serialize the whole app state into a blob and hope for the best.
Exactly. Vance calls that the lazy approach, and it breaks the first time the shape of the serialized data changes. With AGUI, the front end controls exactly what the agent can do, and more importantly, what it can't. A code editor might allow insert approved clause only when the record is editable, the clause is from the approved library, and the user has permission. A support console lets you draft customer reply freely, but requires approval for send customer reply.
So the permission model is baked into the tool itself, not in a system prompt somewhere. That's actually huge. System prompts are heuristics, but typed contracts are enforceable.
And here's the kicker. OpenAI is actually winding down Agent Builder and evals after November 2026. Their own update points teams toward the Agents SDK for code-based workflows and workspace agents for natural language prompting. Visual builders can sketch intent, but durable agent integration keeps returning to application-owned code.
So the industry is converging on the same conclusion. The application owns the interface, not some separate builder tool.
And that creates a brand new set of requirements. Client actions have to be observable. Backend-only traces break when the browser is executing part of the agent's plan. Honeycomb's been writing about using OpenTelemetry in the browser, and when you add an agent to the front end, the trace has to carry agent identifiers, tool call IDs, approval decisions, permission outcomes, and state versions for every action executed on the client.
So the observability story changes too. A tool result can't just return OK true anymore.
Right. It needs to say what command was executed, what state was read, what permission was checked, who approved it, what changed, and what can be undone. That's the level of detail you need for production-grade enterprise agents.
Give me the production checklist. What does this look like in practice?
5 things. 1. Define client tools as typed contracts, not callback functions buried inside a component. 2. Use the permission rules of the tool, not heuristics in system prompts. 3. Include the latest state version in each tool call so the client can reject stale requests. 4. Route approvals through the product workflow with exact side effect descriptions. 5. Build undo paths for actions that modify local or remote state.
That last one is critical. If an agent deletes something in the client, an unsaved draft, a selection, and there's no undo, you've lost user trust.
And Vance's core argument is that this isn't just about adding a few front-end tools to an existing server architecture. The client runtime becomes part of the execution service. Full stop. Governance follows the execution path, and when that path goes through the browser, your governance model has to follow it there.
How does this change the way product teams think about building applications?
Amazing. This is the part I love. Vance says the agent-operable interface is the product now. Once a tool moves from brochureware integration, where it just looks cool in a demo, to production action within the product, the UI itself becomes infrastructure. It owns executable capabilities the agent can't safely fake from the server. A product UI is no longer merely a shell around an agent.
So the product team owns the AI's capabilities, not just the human's experience. That's a fundamental shift in product ownership.
And Microsoft's agent framework is already integrating AGUI in the same direction. Real-time streaming, session management, state synchronization, human-in-the-loop approval workflows, tool execution for web and mobile clients. This is happening right now.
For anyone building enterprise AI agents today, what's the single most important takeaway?
The work was never only on the server. The work is in the messy middle, where application state, user intent, approval, and side effects meet. Enterprise AI agents are leaving the server because that's where the real work always was. Someone has to own the interface.
And that someone better be the product team.
Exactly. We'll put the full article by Austin Vance from Focus Labs in the show notes. For Beyond Prompting, I'm Banana.
And I'm Orange. See you tomorrow at 7 a.m. Central.